is you can't predict what's going to happen at VBS whatsoever. And that's so hard to let go of. But when you do, you see what God has planned. That's so much greater than you could have written out.
Let's talk VBS!
Hi, and welcome to Concordia Supply's VBS Volunteer Roundtable. I'm Lauren.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Quinn.
And today we're having a roundtable discussion all about volunteering for VBS. A little background on each of us. Julie and I actually work at Concordia Supply and have been part of VBS World for the past couple years. But Quinn is actually the daughter of Brian, our behind the camera extraordinaire. And what's so special about Quinn is that she has aged out of VBS, and this was her first year volunteering. So I'm really excited to get each of our insights and hopefully encourage some volunteers out there. So we can get started on just sharing our names, of course, how long we've been serving at VBS, and just our role there. So for me, I grew up going to VBS. I went to a couple. My favorite one was one by group. It was called Power Lab, I think. And we had these really cute like science Bible buddies. So I absolutely adored it. It was just had so much fun, and some of my favorite memories are at VBS. And then I started working at Concordia Supply and have been part of just our VBS team there for about almost 4 years now. And of course, VBS is so fun. It's a joy to talk about it with volunteers. VBS directors, I think specifically, just have so much joy about them, and they're just really excitable people, and so am I. So that's been fun. And then the past 2 years, I've been serving as a small group leader with the kinders, so they're very cute, fun, crazy age, and then also first and second graders. So yeah, that's kind of my background in all of it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's pretty similar background. I grew up going to VBS. Our VBS growing up, though, wasn't like an overall theme that we see now or that we work and serve in now. It was more of like each room was a different Bible story. So it's kind of more like the group's Holy Land adventure, but each room was a different adventure. So I did a lot of like the decor, the snacks, and then like the worship time for those growing up. And then now I've been serving 2 years at my current church in their VBS, and then over 4 years in the youth ministry. And so what's really cool about doing both is working at VBS, we only do it for elementary age, but then the volunteers from middle school and high school come in and kind of serve as their group leaders and buddies. So I get to oversee the youth that I work with all the time and help them be mentors. And I also get to get into, the weeds and work with the kids and be able to be a part of that. So for the past 2 years, that's been awesome.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I've been serving at VBS. This is my first year serving, but I've gone to VBS for a while, since I was probably 7. And my role for VBS this year was kindergarten and pre-K.
Okay, Quinn, so it was your first year, like you just said. What was the reason that you decided to volunteer? Was it just love for it from before, or what's your take on it?
Well, as I said, I've been doing it for a while, and I've always been really excited to volunteer when I had the chance to. So when I finally got that option, then I didn't really have to put much thought into it. So I was just really excited to do it. What part of VBS made you think, wow, this is awesome?
I think for me, I really like just hearing people worship. I think is such a beautiful experience. It kind of like gives me like a glimpse of heaven. I'm like, wow, like heaven will be like this. We're all singing and worshiping God. So when I hear the young kids do it, it's just like extra special. So every day, kind of like you mentioned, Julie, like worship is just so much fun with the kids, and we're dancing and we're singing, but we'll usually end the day with like a slower song. And just, I would get quiet and just like listen to all the kids around me. I'm like, oh, their little hearts and their voices, they just love Jesus. And like, what a special experience that VBS gets to create. Like Julie's church as well, we do up to elementary. So just hearing all these elementary age kids from like super tiny all the way to like the cool 5th and 6th graders are worshiping God. And I think that's just such a special experience.
Yeah, the live music too. It is a tearjerker for sure. My wow moment from VBS was I helped lead the prayer station and hands-on Bible station. So we did like those object lessons and hands-on activities. And we really wanted to get to the point at the end of the week where the kids were praying on their own or were praying out loud, because a lot of people either haven't, or it's always in their head, or it's always their parents praying and them just like nodding in agreement. So that was our goal. And it was such a beautiful thing to see, like at first, like how many of you do pray, or how many of you are you learning about it? So we taught them about it. And the wow moment was on our final day, we went through like the 5 different things, like addressing God, saying what you're thankful for, saying what you're sorry for, a personal prayer and a prayer for somebody else, and seeing every student come through the station and just be able to pray, share those things, be vulnerable and voice those things. to other people, and then also be able to pray not only for the people around them, like that are their ages, but also their youth leaders. And then I had some that prayed for me too, because we just had the odd numbers. And so it was really amazing to just see them put that into practice.
Yeah, so a wow moment for me was probably how accessible VBS is for any person. Like personally, my grandma, she volunteers also in the VBS, and she kind of just stays there for anybody that needs a little extra help, and she doesn't have them have like too much trouble. Like she doesn't do too much for them. She kind of lets them do it by themselves, but she definitely like leads them so they can, have that VBS experience, and just how accessible it is for everybody.
I love that. I think it's so important too at a VBS just to have people that don't really have a job there, but they're just kind of there to support and fill in the roles that need to be filled in. Like a child just needs some extra one-on-one like hand holding some of the times, or they're scared, or they just want someone to talk to because it's so busy throughout the whole day. You don't really have those quiet moments, but having an extra person there to have those quiet moments intentionally, I think is so important. And that's so cool that you and your grandma got to serve together. I love that.
What's something that serving at VBS has taught you about your faith?
For me, one of the biggest things was not worrying about perfection. And I think that comes to play not only in the administration of a program of that size, but also just that personal faith that you have. We always are concerned about, being perfect when we're in that performance setting of serving people and making sure the program runs well. But it also taught me a lot about like where my faith was and where I was holding my value. And it was such a beautiful thing because I kind of came into each day not 100% knowing what I was supposed to be doing. And previously that would have made me like super anxious and really worried. And I think the thought stemmed from, hey, this is all dependent on Julie. Julie is in charge. And if the kids learn how to pray and pray for one another, it's all my doing. It's all my fault. But that's not true. And it also translated into my faith and really strengthened the fact that like the Lord doesn't need anything from me except for that surrender, and that peace that comes from that surrender is truly what took over. So for me, what I got out of it, what I learned about my faith was that faith doesn't equal perfection, and perfection doesn't equal strong faith. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. As someone who likes to control things and feel security in that, I mean, being prepared is not a bad thing, but when we rely solely on ourselves to make things happen, that's when the focus is taken off of God. So, yeah, I would agree. It's just, you can't predict what's going to happen at VBS whatsoever. Yeah. And that's so hard to let go of, but when you do, you see what God has planned that's so much greater than you could have written out, or like you can't put on the schedule like a God moment, it just kind of happens organically. So just trusting, Lord, you got this. I'm just going to show up and be obedient, and you'll do the rest. It just takes a weight off of your shoulders a lot.
So for me, it would probably be, so for our VBS, we almost weren't going to do it because we were going to reconstruct the area where we usually do VBS. And so and then we ended up getting to do it. So it was very last minute. And even though it was very last minute, we still got over 100 kids. And that really showed me like how much that they want to learn, because it obviously, I mean, their parents can be like, oh, like you're going to do VBS and you're going to have fun. And the kid doesn't really have much say in it, but it's just how they wanted to come back, and that they knew like that they were going to have fun there. And it was just, that really showed me like my faith of how I need to be a good example for the future youth. And it was just, that's a big part of it.
Love that. Yeah, that's so cool. You guys were able to have VBS still last minute, and a very successful one too. Because the Lord was at the center of it. So, I know for me, being a volunteer, there's just been so much learning, like on the job. You can't really prepare for it. But I think like one of the things that no one really warned me about is, yes, it's like a week-long commitment, but it goes by so fast, and you realize like, oh my gosh, it's already the last day. Like, okay, and it was just exciting, but to me, it really told me like, Lord, help me just to slow down and enjoy this moment. And I enjoy for me, I had some youth volunteers as well. As a small group leader, I had 2 amazing youth volunteers. They're both 8th graders, and they want to help. They want to be part of it. So it was really easy to delegate things. And I realized like, oh, I don't have to do everything, like be with the kids and help teach and, do whatever. Like, use the people that are around you and enjoy that, like enjoy empowering them, pouring into them as well. It's such like an honor to have the opportunity as well, like to pour into an 8th grader, like 2 8th grade girls who want to serve the Lord. So yeah, it's a big responsibility to see it that way, but it's also just such a joy that we get to do. So how about you guys?
I think for me, it's improvisation. I think that like we've talked about already, nothing goes exactly how we plan it. Sometimes people have good days. Sometimes people have bad days. Sometimes they're off, in scheduling. And it's just the improvisation that comes with it. Like being able to pivot in those times and just recognize that, their joy, what they're getting out of this, how the Lord is working is not dependent on following this set schedule. And that sometimes these moments or these big behaviors or whatever is going on, those can actually be the opportunity that the Lord has presented you to serve and to love and to be there for that individual or the group as a whole. And so I think improvising is great. And you can just kind of be able to see where the kids are at. Like in the station that we did, we had our set like activity. And the first time we did it, it was not going well. The kids were not engaged. So we just pivoted halfway through and, kind of incorporated it with one instead of everybody doing it. And it was way more impactful. And we took that on to the rest of it. And it made the rest of the day go by smoother. And the kids were just getting it. And so I think that the strength in just letting go and working with the opportunities that the Lord is presenting you with, because I do think that they are his work at that point.
For sure.
Yeah.
I had a pastor tell me one time, again, we've been saying it ad nauseum, but just like how we like things to be structured naturally. But he told me one time, I was freaking out about something. And he goes, there's this verse, it's not written in the Bible, but it's implied, blessed are the flexible. Like you have to just be flexible with things. Because again, you can't plan that.
Yeah.
And that's so cool that you were able to actually live that out. Like, okay, guys, we got to figure something else out now.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just happy to be here. I know you're happy to be here. I want us to have fun and I want us to talk about Jesus. So how can we make that happen now? Okay, go.
Okay, go. Exactly.
For me, something that no one warns you about is probably how patient you have to be because no matter like what you expect, it's going to be different. Like how you guys said that you don't really know what to expect until you're there. So you just kind of have to be prepared for what you think is going to happen. Nothing that's like too crazy that like probably isn't going to happen. But like if it does, then you want to be prepared for it. Like I would rather be prepared than not. So you really have to be patient with them.
So we've talked a lot about like the organization of things and kind of more serious topics, but what I want to know is what is an amazing memory from VBS this week? I can go first. My amazing memory or something that really makes me laugh is there was this one girl in our group and she had these fake press-on nails and we were doing an activity about the miracles that Jesus worked. So we took one piece of paper, just like he took the couple of loaves of bread and the fish and he multiplied it. So we were showing through that object lesson that one thing can become hundreds and thousands of things depending on like the size of the group. And so she had her press-on nails and she was ripping her paper and her press-on nail came off and she's like, oh my goodness, my press-on nail, like what am I gonna do? My mom's gonna be so mad. And we were right by the nurse's office. So I was like, oh, get a Band-Aid and we'll tape it on. You can glue it back on when you get home. She's like, great. So she runs over, grabs it. We're still tearing up the papers. She comes back and starts doing it again, sets her nail and the Band-Aid aside, right? Not unused Band-Aid. And she keeps ripping up the paper. And then I call time because it was like in 2 minutes. And so I call time and we saw like how we made thousands of pieces of paper from just our 8 pieces of paper that we started with. And we were talking about how Jesus does miracles. That was our main Bible point, that Jesus works miracles. And so I was like, okay, everybody, like that was our lesson, whatever, let's push everything together and we'll push all the pieces of paper into a box. And everybody does that. And it was so great. There was no pieces of paper on the floor. And then all of a sudden she screams and she's like, my nail is gone. So out of these thousands of pieces of paper, she pushed her tiny little nail in there. And so I was like, oh no. And she's like having a meltdown. And I'm like, well, we're not going to have this happen at VBS. And so they were rotating within our station. So I sent them over and I was like, I will give you your nail back. It's definitely in this box somewhere. So So I dumped out this, box of thousands and thousands of pieces of paper, like a shredder basically, and dug through it. And I finally found her nail. Like it fell in the grass in the paper. And so I found it and I gave it to her and she's like, Jesus does work miracles. And so I was like, okay, so this was a crisis, but it turned out being the perfect object lesson for that girl who was kind of straying away from it based on the nail. So the Lord really worked there and it was just hilarious. And then the next day she had no nails on. So there was,
I bet that's something you never thought you'd be doing. It's
No.
like digging through paper and trying to find this nail.
But
That's
yeah,
really
she got
cool.
the Bible point. Jesus does miracles. And I was like, you know what, girl, he does. You're so right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Just like working with kids is such a joy. They always make you laugh, just the stuff they say.
Yeah.
Last year I had this one student. He was a very special kid. We all have a very special kid, usually likes to push our buttons, but by midweek, me and him had become very close. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Like, this is a joy. And he thought we were closer than we actually were, though. And we were coloring, and he comes up to me. He goes, best friend. I go, yeah. And he goes, I drink from your water. And I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, because we're best friends. I drink from your water. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like already drinking my water again. So I was like, I'm going to get sick. And sure enough, I did. But it was a very sweet moment from him. And just how kids think. Like, we're best friends. We're going to drink from the water together. So,
like, yum.
Yay. So.
But a memory for me that like makes me laugh a lot is like whenever I look back to it is when, so there's obviously a couple, but my favorite was probably when during our water games like when we were outside, one of my kids grabbed one of the water guns from our leader and started squirting them with it and all the other kids, and it was just like it took a while to like wrangle him back in, but when he did, it was definitely a funny memory to look back on.
Yeah, there's no way you leave VBS like not wet at least one of the days.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed for sure.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes on with VBS. There's so much responsibility on a director. We've all had our VBS directors that we listen to and that really try to mold us and train us before going to the big week, where we're hands-on with the kids. For me, a quality that I really appreciated in my VBS director was just how calm she was. Like you've been saying, nothing really goes exactly as planned. And anytime that did happen, like, oh, the kids trashed the bathroom or whatever it may be, she was so calm and collected. Like nothing ever seemed to faze her. She's like, okay, well, and immediately just go into a backup plan or, you know what, I'll take care of this, which I thought was just so amazing. And it helped me as a volunteer just kind of relax even more and just focus on whatever I was doing beforehand. So what's a quality in your VBS director that really, I don't know, reassured you or just that you really admire in them?
Okay, I can go. A quality in my VBS director was definitely how flexible she was. And even though if we have something that we can't make it to VBS, she had no problem with like she wasn't worried about like where the kids were gonna go, what were you doing. She was just very flexible with us, and she would let us kind of take care of our kids that we had responsibilities to. I was really happy that mine kind of let us do the things that we were like there for instead of just like sitting around and coming in whenever the job was really hard.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, for my director, I just admire so much, and I would love to mimic just the joy and the service that she does, even if it is something crazy. Like she's not calm in those situations, but she's like hits it with the energy and like the joy of like, this is cleanup. Somebody trashed the bathroom. I'm happy to do this, and this is what I needed to be doing at this point in time because it's a break from X, Y, and Z, or it's just this different change of pace. So I personally love just that joy and that service and the energy she brings. I think that no matter what goes great and no matter what goes wrong, it's met with love and joy and just, okay, let's keep going or let's do it that way again, so nothing is like a end of the world type of crisis. Everything is, like I was saying earlier, and I think that came from her, was like, this is an opportunity that the Lord made for us at this point. So what are we going to do? How are we going to react to it, and how are we going to serve through that? So yeah, I think that she's great. Love her.
Love her to death.
Love her.
Grateful for her.
So I know you're a new volunteer, but if you have some that you want to recommend, my next question is, what is some advice you would give to a new leader or a new volunteer?
Yeah, so for me, some advice that I would give to a new volunteer would be that you can't expect everything that's going to happen. Like, I'm not trying to say that you have to wing it, like on the spot. Just be prepared for something that's going to happen, even though it might not. So you can't really predict what's going to happen. You might get like a little idea, but you can't predict everything that's going to happen. You just need to be prepared if it does.
Yeah, I like that. It's super practical.
Mm-hmm.
I think something I wish I had done the first time I volunteered was just enjoy it more. It was like midway through the week. I was like, oh, like, wow, this is what I get to do today. Like,
Yeah.
I get to wake up this morning really early. I get to wake up and spend time with kids and teach them about Jesus. Like, wow, Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you that this is what I get to do today. Like, I don't have to go work in the hot sun on this hot summer day. I get to, play water games. I get to worship with them and just enjoy that time because it's so special. And like I said earlier, it goes by so fast. So just every single moment, like, Lord, give me the eyes to just really enjoy this moment. Like, make time stop for a second and let me just look at each of their precious faces and help any way I can. And yeah, that would be it for me.
That's really good advice. I love that. I think mine would be like to pray. I think praying before, because a lot of the times you're nervous. Like we were saying, you're not going to be prepared. And to have that weight can sometimes lead into you approaching it in a different way. So I'd say pray before, so you can like have that posture that you are there to enjoy. You are there to serve. You are there to come alongside them. You're not, in charge of everything, but pray before and get prepared with like right with your spirit in that moment. And then during, I would say pray during, because during those times of improvisation, it can get crazy. You can, feel all the nerves come back. But I say just, lifting one up at that point and just, leaning on Christ and reminding yourself that, again, it's not up to you. You are a vessel of his will. So pray that you would align yourself in this moment with that. And then afterward, just like a prayer of thanks. And also just reflection, like, Lord, I know I did great. I felt like I did great on this part. I felt like I could have been better on this part. So I pray that you would continue to develop those skills in me. Or you can even afterward be praying for those students that like really pressed on your heart, or even those extra special students that needed extra love, just prayers that you would be able to facilitate a relationship throughout the year. So next VBS is smoother for them and they just feel more, enveloped in love rather than correction and redirection. So I would say praying before, during, and after, it's going to change the lens you see the service through.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I'm sure there's some people watching that it's going to be or was their first year of VBS as a volunteer. So what is some more advice for someone who is just starting to serve in the ministry?
I just think about like my youth volunteers. So I've worked with them from when they were in 6th grade to whatever age they're at now. And I just think about the advice I would give to them. And for my girls, I'm currently with freshmen now. So they've been doing volunteering. They've been in it for years. And then they also started volunteering in the past 4 years. And so what I would advise them is to not sweat the details. Like we've been talking about over and over again. I think that is the main thing, because we so often get caught up in, is this going to be perfect? Am I going to bring this child to Jesus? And it's like, yes, again, we are the vessels. We're going to be able to do that through whatever moment the Lord presents us with, but to not stress about it, because that stress can feed other volunteers around you, and it can feed into the kids where they're just high energy and they're meeting that, or if you're stressed and you're shutting down, then they're shutting down. And so I think that to not sweat the little details and to just really lean into your strengths. Like we mentioned before, if you have a special strength of working with the kindergartners, voice that. Let your volunteer coordinator know what you love to do. Let them know where some things that some areas you struggle with, so that way you can be put into the position where you're going to serve in the best way. But yeah, don't stress, just enjoy, have fun, because just like you were a student there, you're creating that same environment. So imagine that environment that you either have been in or that you would want to be in, and just lean into that.
I would say I love VBS so much because like you learn these really foundational Bible truths and just lessons there at a very simple level. Like even for me this year, we talked about the life of King Josiah, the youngest king to ever live. He became king at 8 years old, and there's all these amazing things he was able to do because he stood for righteousness. And the main point of our VBS was that no matter like how young you are, God can still use you in really big ways to change a whole generation. That's what he did. He changed the whole kingdom to worship and to love the Lord and to seek righteousness. So I think my advice to just like a young person who's starting out in ministry or who is thinking about volunteering like you did is just stay focused on what like God put that desire in your heart for a reason, and to focus on that. Like, well, Lord, okay, well, why do you want me to do this? Like, who am I? It's like, no, I'm a child of God. Like I'm a daughter of the King, and he wants me to be a vessel for these kids. Like Julie was saying, like, and you as well, like this is actually your life, is you were in VBS and now you get to serve in it. And just being able to pour in all the stuff that you received beforehand, I think is such an amazing opportunity that not everyone has. You know, people, they come to know the Lord later in their life and God still uses them in amazing ways, but to be able to be someone who's raised up in that and then now pour into it, I think is just so beautiful and awesome. And yeah, that would be my advice. Just stay focused on what God has you to do. It can be distracting a lot of the time. But. Well, ladies, thank you so much for sharing all that. I feel like I learned a bunch, and I hope it encourages others who are watching as well. And Julie, I would love for you to close us in a word of prayer and pray for each of us, or really just anyone who's watching this as well.
Of course. All right, let's talk to God together. Dear gracious Almighty God, thank you so much for the time that we got to spend here together. Thank you for the time that we got to serve and help bring your kingdom to this earth, God. I just pray over every child that we got to speak with. I pray that the truths that we spoke into them in these past few weeks can be seeds that are planted and grow into a lifelong faith and service to you. God, I pray over all the volunteers, us here and those that we served alongside. I pray that you would just empower them to continue to share your word and inspire them to go out and reach more outside of this program. Again, I thank you for this time we got to come together to debrief, to talk about the challenges and the successes, and just see your hand in all of it. I pray that everybody out there watching, everybody out there serving, I pray that you would continue to bring your peace in their lives and empower them to serve and bring your kingdom here, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.